Sarel, what were you doing in 2006?
I was being a girl boss and making Scooby-Doos on the school playground.
Did you sell them?
I did.
Did
and
you?
I would start them for people. Yeah.
I got in trouble for stealing Scooby-Doos from Lunchtime Club.
Of course you did. You sounded like that was a bad thing. Of course you did. We're not trying
No, but I thought that I'd get away with it.
Okay, theft.
Anyway, whilst you were making Scooby-Doos,
Yes.
do you remember the era of the WAG?
Do I? Jack, let me tell you something. There are very few things that I've been obsessed with. WAGs were one of them. But I only remember, like, obviously the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
The Vicky B's.
Well, have I got the podcast for you?
Oh.
Welcome to Famously in Love. That is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. From dancing on tables, drinking pink champagne,
Love,
to many cheating scandals, which is actually hell, but they are just so juicy.
Juicy.
We're going to be taking a dose of noughties nostalgia whilst wondering what exactly changed in the world of WAGs.
And what has changed in the beautiful game in recent years has kind of taken us from like WAG era 101 to like Go Lionesses.
Go Lionesses.
Femme power.
You better.
You better work.
You better work.
You better work,
Lionesses.
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 And I think that's the biggest change. Like, go women.
Okay, well, let's dive into it.
Okay, go on then. Hi, I'm Sarel.
And I'm Jack Remmington, and this is Famously in Love, the podcast where we put the hot and heavy worlds of Hollywood, reality telly, and tabloid fodder under the microscope.
That's right, this is the show where we ask serious questions and get slightly less serious answers about celebrity culture and relationships.
From BBC Sounds, this is Famously in Love.
When we talk about WAGs, aka, I also didn't know this growing up, what it stood for. I just used to say WAGs, but I didn't know it stood for wives and girlfriends.
What did you think it was?
I just thought the
like
acronym...
chinwags,
Well,
like they're just chatting all the time.
I just thought the acronym was the thing. You know how like you call water, but it doesn't stand for anything? It just stands for water?
You didn't know water stands for something?
No, stop it. No, it doesn't stand for anything.
Why all terrible eaters remain?
What?
It's a question that I often ask at a dinner table and think,
so annoying.
why is this person who's chewing still here?
Stop it. But you know, I just thought WAGs was the name for them. They are WAGs.
Well, they are.
Well, they are, but it stands for wives and girlfriends.
Right.
Anyways, the WAGs of the noughties, Jack, that's where we're at.
Yeah, and they dominated pop culture more than anything, specifically the wives and girlfriends of high-earning British footballers, which is, oh God, I love them.
Yeah.
Who really rose up like through the late 90s, obviously Posh and Becks, but then after that through the 2000s. And then really, I'd say the culmination was the 2006 World Cup. That was like the
creme de la creme.
The creme de la creme.
Yeah.
But it's changed a lot since the noughties, and I think we want to know why.
Well, I think it's a few things, okay? We've moved past, you know, women being defined solely by being like someone's girlfriend or someone's wife or, you know, like you are your own being. You're more than just...
Femme power.
Exactly. Whereas before it was like Wayne Rooney's girlfriend. Now she's the Wagatha Christie.
Well, now he's Coleen Rooney's husband, in my opinion.
I also think like... in general, football has become not just like a man thing.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching the women play. I've been watching the women play.
I've only been to women's football matches. I've never been to a men's.
I love that.
Slay,
I've never been to either, but
if you were to go to one, it would be the girlies.
It would be the girlies.
Yeah, the girlies.
Femme power. I'm just going to do that throughout the entire
That's
episode.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for audio listeners, she's doing fist in the air, giving Talk Valentina ally.
Yes.
So we have that era we're talking about, like the 2006 era. And then I think we can also bring in the current footballers and their girlfriends. So Arsenal's Declan Rice we'll get into talking about. But first, I think it is a time for a trip down memory lane.
Take me.
So, to understand peak WAG culture, we need to travel back to 2006.
Okay.
Picture the time. The first ever tweet was tweeted.
Yeah.
But I think twote's so much
is
better.
so much
I
better.
wrote a twote. Anyway, cool. Hannah Montana and High School Musical debuted on our screens.
Legendary.
That was really a cultural shift.
Iconic.
Yeah, agreed. Oversized sunglasses, which we're going to get into actually more and more.
We shall.
Because the battle between VB and Cheryl is iconic. Denim mini shorts.
Yes.
And peep toe heels.
What a time.
It was an era.
What a time to be alive.
And importantly, celebrity magazines were massive.
Yes.
Which obviously facilitated the growth of the WAG. the news of the world were hacking phones left, right and centre.
For breakfast.
For breakfast, lunch, dinner and 11s. Yeah. And the coverage of WAGs was pretty critical because there was a labelling of like chavettes and tasteless. And it's like, we'll get into it because that's obviously why we love them so much, because they are like peak hun culture. Yeah. There we go. So we're going to zoom in on the 2006 World Cup in Baden-Baden, Germany. Baden-Baden, I just think, Baden me.
Baden me.
It reminds me of the Baden Bellas from Pitch Perfect. I saw the sign. I just think it's so great. Anyway, Baden-Baden Bellas. So picture that. That's where we are, 2006. So as an overview, the biggest couples were Coleen and Wayne Rooney. Notice that it's the women first in each of these couples. Victoria and David Beckham.
Always.
Cheryl and Ashley Cole.
Absolutely.
Abbey, Clancy and Peter Crouch, right? So bear with me because whilst I was doing research on this, I've really tried to whittle this section down, but there's so much iconic material. So I'm just going to this is all necessary.
I'm with you.
Okay? So with Coleen and Wayne, she was 20 at the 2006 World Cup, which is actually mad to look back.
Yeah.
And also, Coleen famously went on a £57,000 shopping spree and then said she racked it up getting just a few bits and pieces. Yeah. That, she looked camp dead in the eye when she said that. That to me, just a few bits and pieces.
Odd bits and pieces.
Just popping shops.
Bits and bobs.
57,000, a mortgage later.
As you do. As you do.
Queen.
Rightfully so.
Then, moving on to Queen VB, Victoria Beckham, the OG. She famously bought 60 pairs of sunglasses in Baden-Baden Bellas in 2006. And she wore heels in a swimming pool. That is legend status to me.
And how can we not love them?
How can we not stand?
How can we not stand such behaviour?
Yeah.
The delusion of it all makes me love them even more.
And David was captain at the time. So this was like peak, it girly,
she
it
was
boy.
Such an it girl.
Yeah. Yeah. But she still continues, like, only time that if I'm sitting on a sofa and I like stretch my leg up, that's the VB. Like, she's, oh, God,
Love
what
her.
a queen.
Love her.
Now, I could talk about her forever, but moving on to Cheryl.
Okay.
She was fairly new to it all at the time.
Yeah.
So she was taken under Victoria's wing, which is so iconic. Imagine your mentor being Victoria Beckham.
Wow.
Which obviously led to so many iconic, legendary photos. They constantly outdid each other with their increasingly massive sunglasses.
Just got progressively bigger and bigger.
It's just so funny.
I just love the fact that it was kind of like, who can wear the biggest shades and still look so unfazed and unbothered?
Like Edna Mode by the end of it. But then sadly, when they got home from the tournament, she found out he'd cheated on her.
Yeah.
She took him back.
Yeah.
And then they finally broke up in 2010 because he'd cheated on her again. I was 16 at the time. I'd never been in a relationship. So I genuinely felt like it was my own relationship.
Yeah.
I, as did the nation, funneled so much emotion into the status of Cheryl Cole's relationship. Like, I remember when she did that deep dive combo, was it with Piers Morgan?
Yeah.
And it was like, in my head, that was viewed by 300 billion people. It just was like, she had me in the palm of her hand.
Yeah. And I think as well, with the whole cheating thing across the board with like WAGs, the reason why Cheryl's one was just so like, is because she was the nation's sweetheart.
Big time.
Like,
she fought for this love.
We just
You've got to fight for this love.
And like, she was herself. She was a girl's girl. She was like, we just were like, oh my God, we love Cheryl. And then he did that. We were like, how dare you? How dare you do that to our...
And after she'd told us if it's worth having, it's worth fighting for. And then did he fight? Did he hell?
No. God.
Let's not.
Moving on.
And then rounding it out, Abbey Clancy was Peter Crouch's new girlfriend at the time. They're now married. So we love that panned out.
Love that.
Her first outing as a WAG, though, ended in shame when she got sent back to England early because pictures of her taking certain white powder 2 years prior were published in the midst of the World Cup.
She got sent packing.
She got expelled.
She was in judges' houses and didn't make it through to the live. She got sent back. They said, you've got to go. And then her and Peter broke up.
As a result
of that whole thing.
But the love was so strong.
They got back together.
They got back together.
They fought for that love.
They fought for that love. It was worth having and it was worth fighting for. And they got married in 2011.
And good for them.
She then did a PR 180, which is iconic.
Yeah.
Public perception completely changed. She was a judge on Britain's Next Top Model. And then she won Strictly in 2013. They now have 4 kids. They're doing ads together left, right and centre in the kitchen. I think they're iconic.
They've got a podcast together.
Yeah.
Just love them.
With that in mind, I think I've answered my own question, but I want to say, like, why were we all so obsessed with WAGs in the noughties? Like, what exactly was it?
I mean, at that time, all we had was like magazine culture. We were obsessed with magazines. The tabloids were running our lives. And especially if you were like working, obviously we were at school. So we're talking.
I wasn't even born in 2006.
Please rest. Please just rest. Okay. Thank you.
You were a single mum who worked 3 jobs by that point, weren't you? You loved your kids, never stop. Yeah, I know.
Please stop. Okay. Anyways, the reason we were so obsessed was because tabloids just told us everything that we needed to know, and we became more and more engrossed in like pop culture and the world of celebrity. But like also they were so core British because it wasn't like they weren't old money, they were new money. Yeah. And they were like, we're going to spend our new money. You're going to see our new money. We're
going to spend my boyfriend or husband's new money, which is more iconic.
Even more iconic. Agreed. The highlights were thick.
Yeah.
The glasses.
The boobs were pushed up.
The boobs were up.
Yeah.
And they were just like, we're here. So iconic that like Victoria was like, I don't even really get how this game works. I actually don't even care.
No.
Like, don't give a heck. I'm just here to look good. Feel good and smell good.
And by God, did she do all of the above. I don't know about smell, but I'm sure she smelled divine.
Oh, divine.
Yeah.
Divine.
I think also for me, when I've spoken about like Hun culture before and tried to unpack what it is that I love about it, I think it's so often the women that we hold up as Huns, because it usually is women.
Yeah.
It's like working class, northern women who have somehow, through whatever lane, become in their relative field that a success story.
Yeah.
And I think really these just are the OG Hun. Like everything that we want from Hun culture, it's like a lot of them were northern, come from working class roots, be the glam queens that they were destined to be. It's kind of like the American dream, but the UK version of the American dream.
Exactly that. And I think that's why tabloids kind of like to drag them through the mud a little bit, because it was almost like...
They're an easy target.
Yeah. It was almost like they felt like these footballers who are making all this money shouldn't be with the likes of. Right. And it was like,
who are falling out of clubs. And it's like, that's exactly who they should be with. What is there not to love in that situation?
What is there not to love?
I know.
I love the fact that even though, you know, Wayne has done some salacious...
They've all done some salacious. That's the point. Every single one of them.
But he loves his wife down.
Yeah, down.
There is nobody stronger. She's one of God's strongest soldiers.
Agreed.
Coleen Rooney has been through it. She's one of God's strongest soldiers.
But she has come out the other side.
A cadet.
With a trench coat on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
What's this called? Magnifying glass.
That's the one. I was going to say monocle, but that's definitely...
No, monocle's still on your eye.
Oh, yeah. It's the magnifying glass.
Yeah.
But yeah, our Wagatha Christie.
Oh, WAG.
The difference is, especially with like, back in the day, you know, we loved our WAGs. We kind of fell... it became just not as big anymore. And I think we are now starting to see a resurge.
Maybe so.
Of the WAG. Because let me tell you something. Currently, there's the Euros. There is a beautiful, beautiful young lady.
I know what you're going to say.
Who rocked my world.
Yeah.
Rocked my world. Now, I've seen her before, but this time, I don't know what happened. It was as though I saw a vision of beauty.
Yeah, a mirage.
A mirage. We're talking about the one and only Ms. Benson, Tolami, obviously, who is Bukayo Saka's girlfriend.
Yeah, or he is her boyfriend, I would say.
Yeah. Rightfully so. She's stunning.
She's so fit.
She is exactly what a WAG should be, because Twitter was on fire. She wore this like big leather jacket with like his Arsenal numbers or something.
She's so poised to be the it girly.
She could sell me anything.
Yeah.
Like that is what a WAG is. You are engulfed in everything she is and then some. And now I'm like, I want to watch the game, not because of the boys kicking the ball, but just so that I can get a glimpse of her.
The 0.3 second pan to her.
As she claps and cheers for her man, looking absolutely ravenously beautiful.
So given her ravenously ravishing beauty,
yes,
do we think she is going to be like WAG 2.0 resurgence, or is she just the it girly?
I think, listen, I feel like we went from a time where we were like obsessed with, you know, the WAGs. Then I think social media came in. We became, you know, obsessed with the likes of like the Molly Mays and whatever. Yeah. And I think now everybody, when the football is on, naturally the country just gets more united.
As in 2018 summer.
Exactly.
Do you remember like all the stars aligned? We did well in, was it the Euros?
Yes.
World Cup? That summer, the weather was hitting. we got really far in whatever that football competition was, and everyone was in the pubs watching it. Even I was. I couldn't give a shit. I bought myself an England top from a second-hand shop just because I wanted to feel a part of it.
Yeah.
In what I don't have a clue what the offside rule is. I don't care. Love Island was really good that summer. Like, it was just, we all look back, I think, we hold that in such high regard as a nation.
Exactly.
Of people our generation.
But I think just in general, when like the football is on, whether it's the World Cup or the Euros, as a country, naturally everybody just everybody's singing Sweet Caroline together.
Yeah.
Right? Now, how beautiful is it that like I can watch with my brothers, but he cares about the offside rule, and I'm watching to get a glimpse of Bukayo Saka's, girlfriend. I want to see Tolami. I want to see what she's wearing. I want to see what she's doing.
Or Grealish's legs as well. That helps.
Sure, and his headband. Great headband.
He's not in the team this year.
No, sorry, really
Grealish.
Anyways, we digress. So I think we are. Things always come back into trend. I think she's making being I was going to say silent wag a thing, but I don't know if she's silent.
Swag.
No. I don't know if she's a silent wag, but I think, anyway, she's making it cool again to just go and support your man and not being dragged in the public eye for it. Because I think what stopped wag culture as well was the fact that, like, a lot of these women just felt like, what the hell? I'm going out to the game, want to support my man, and I'm getting dragged for filth by every publication there is out there. I'm just not going to partake in that, and I'm just going to post on my Instagram, and people who want to come and see me, they'll come and see me, and if you don't want to come see me, you won't come and see me. But I think she's kind of got like this new it girl aura about her.
Aura's the right word. She's just got an essence,
an aura
of stardom.
Yeah, and I just love her.
I think also it's worth mentioning, part of the reason why we love her so much, which is what we touched on before about the whole being more than a sum of its parts. Saka is the nation's sweetheart.
I would give
so
that
if she was with someone that was a bit of an arse in the football world and had a reputation,
exactly,
would struggle. Whereas I was talking to someone yesterday about Saka, and he was like, oh my God, whenever he's on screen, my mum's just like, how dare you tackle him? Like, people feel so protective of him after the Euros or the World Cup, whatever it was, when he like missed the penno and stuff.
Euros, yeah.
Right? That I just think it's so great that he's with someone that everyone loves, and vice versa. She's not with a knobhead,
exactly,
as far as we're aware.
Yeah. So
you just like to think, yes, I want to root for you on all fronts.
Just a good, sweet little, and she looks like she loves him so much, and he just looks so happy. And I think they are creme de la creme, and I can't wait to see how her new like WAG status is going to grow.
Agreed.
But I feel like she could bring the WAG back. She could do it.
She's bringing WAG back. Yeah.
Do you want to delve into more celebrity stories?
Stacey Dooley and Larry Dean analysed some of the most juicy, shocking and downright absurd celebrity trials and controversies, both in court and by public opinion, on their podcast, Famously on Trial.
Listen to every episode on BBC Sounds. Obviously, we've spoken about Bukayo Saka, and I also want to talk about some more modern, footballers. The likes of Declan Rice and his current girlfriend, Lauren Fryer, who have been together for a long periodically time. Periodically time. And some of the negativity that she faces because she doesn't look like, quote unquote, a traditional wag. But what does that even mean?
Which is wild. But I think it also just speaks to, we all talk about it all the time, like the pressures that women are under, but it actually is bonkers. As in, I think it also ties in. Have you seen those photos recently of that were going viral of the current Love Island season of the girlies who are like, all of them are like early 20s, but pretty much all the photos I've seen, they've all had quite a lot of filler. Yeah. And it's basically that mindset of like, you can't win because as a woman, if you don't make tweaks to your appearance, what are you doing at you're old, you look shit.
Yeah.
And if you do, what are you playing at? You've aged yourself, you look old, you look shit. Yeah. And I think Lauren Fryer, not that she needs to care for my opinion, is an attractive woman.
Beautiful girl.
She's just not a size 2 with fake boobs up to her face. Yeah. And therefore, it's just weird, isn't it? Like this, it's the parasocial relationship thing as well, I think, where people have an expectation of what they think a wag should be, maybe because of past ideas of what wags were. And also, I guess because it's an aspirational thing for a lot of people to want to be long-term girlfriends and then married to a footballer because it secures financial safety for them. So it's almost like, oh God, how has she got above her station to be there when I could be doing that? Get a grip.
And I just love the fact that Declan Rice always shows up and supports
sick,
her. Like he's like, don't you dare talk about my girl because I will come for you. They've been together since they were 17, both 25 now. And I just think it's the epitome of like, this is what love looks like to me. Like, he will defend her. He loves her. She's beautiful.
That's the thing. And we're saying defend her as if he's like betrothed to Quasimodo.
Yeah, he's with an attractive girl.
Yeah.
It's just that in the world of social media, in the world of, you know, celebrity, she doesn't look like a carbon copy of all the other girls. I just love the fact that he's like, he doesn't take that at all. He loves his girl down.
In football at the moment, we would be remiss to not also mention the amazing change and, I guess, uptick towards women's involvement in football. So I guess we can go on to discuss, like, if the rise in women's sport has played a role in the demise of WAGs.
Ooh.
But first, let's give a little bit of context to women's football. So women have been playing football for well over 100 years. The first recorded match was in England in 1895. When the British Ladies Football Club Northside beat the South 7-1, as they should, Northern Queens. But it became really popular during World War I, 1914 to 1918, when women took over the... Well, I love my little... You know I do, I like my dates. When women took over the factory jobs that men had left behind, when fighting in the conflicts, the women would play during their lunch breaks. They represented their factories. It carried on growing in popularity after the war.
Yeah.
In 1920, there was a club called Care Ladies.
Okay, interesting name.
Sold more than 53,000 tickets.
Iconic.
With a lot of fans waiting outside the ground, which is, I guess, their version of the Eras Tour. Which is tea.
That's not what I would have...
Well, because people, like, they keep getting pushed away from, like, watching or listening in the parking lot.
Yeah.
The Dick Kerr Ladies are very much giving Taylor Swift.
Yes, 101.
And I think Taylor Swift has based a lot of her career on the Dick Kerr Ladies of 1920.
Of course.
However, then in 1921, maybe as a direct response to the massive ticket sales of the Taylor Swift of the 20th century, the Football Association in England banned women's football.
Crazy.
Banned it. The reason given, the game of football is quite unsuitable for females as well, like, you know, when someone calls... Anyway. And ought not to be encouraged.
Crazy. And banned it for 50 years, might I add.
Yeah.
Not like a little, you know, summer ban, like, ladies, you know, you've had your
like the
fun.
hose pipe ban for a year. Like, let's wait till the water comes back.
You've had your fun, gonna have a little ban. 50 years they banned it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the Women's Football Association was then formed in 1969, almost 50 years later, with 44 member clubs. The current National League system in England was first played in 1991, but it took until 2018, 6 years ago, for a fully professional women's league to be formed.
Crazy.
And then really it all picked up in England winning the Euros in 2022.
Yeah.
And their first World Cup final in 2023 that everybody... And I say this, obviously this is en masse. Of course, there was loads of interest amongst women in women's football before, but this was really like when I feel it hit the mainstream and it was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
There's so many female role models in football now to be like, this is sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is so exciting.
I just think as well, like, I don't know, with women's football, it's now more empowering than ever to watch it, support them, to play it. Like, there used to be like a stigma around, like, oh, it's not real football. Like, we'll watch the real football when it's on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now there's a huge love for women's sport in general, but women's football specifically has been massive.
And I also wonder if part of it has been, hopefully, because of more accepting views on sexuality. Because I know at school, for instance, if a girl played football, oh, well, she's a lesbian.
Yeah.
Whether she actually was queer or what, like, it wasn't really about that. It was just, oh, football for girls equals lesbian.
Yeah.
And obviously for a lot of female football players, they are queer. But also a lot of them aren't.
Yeah.
And I wonder now if it's like, I wonder what it's like at schools if you are a girl who plays football. I would like to think it's not something that immediately comes with a presumption either way of sexuality, because the Lionesses have done so much, regardless of the sexuality of individual Lionesses, to just be like, that's what I want to be like. That's their role models, which is such a nice thought.
And I also think, I mean, I don't necessarily know if, you know, you were to do like a grid formation, which one would go where. But I do think there is something where, like, for a long time, women being associated with football was just WAGs.
Yeah.
Women and football was WAGs. But now...
they were playing the sport.
But now, do you know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah.
But now they are playing the sport in their own right and dominating in their own fields. So now it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe we've lost the WAG and we've gained the women's footballer. I don't know. I don't know.
I think also with the WAG thing, it's this presumption that, like, as we said earlier, WAG means wives and girlfriends. There's no space for that to be husband or boyfriends.
Which
so,
is
like, there is...
a HAB.
Yeah, like husbands and boyfriends, but like from the male perspective, I mean, as in like as a male footballer, it's always been that you'd have a WAG.
Yeah.
So there haven't been any openly gay Premiership footballers, and even the leagues below, but I don't know the exact stats on that. But my point is, imagine how emasculating it would be if there did happen to be a gay footballer in a Premiership team, and what that partner would go through in terms of it be, well, you're a WAG, you're the you know, annoying weird gender roles that you get of the whole, like, in gay relationships. Oh, which one of you's the woman and which one of you's the man? And it's like, well, we're both men, aren't we? So what now? So I think it's opened that a lot more with the women's game because it's not the presumption that partners are WAGs now.
No. You're just a partner and you support your partner as they play, and we love that for you.
I also think just in general, it's fair to say that the fans of women's football are so much less toxic
100%
than fans of male football.
And I think the biggest example is like the whole Alex Scott and Jess Glynne relationship. They, like, openly gay, love one another, is what it is, but you don't see like the, you know, women's football fans attacking them or coming, like, it's just kind of like, yeah, they're together, cool. Like, it, you know, there's no like built-in angst and resentment towards them. Whereas I feel like, and you know, this is where male football probably has like a long way to go. When our first openly big, you know, gay Premiership league, or I don't know what the leagues are, girl, I don't know. Whenever one of them comes out and has, you know, his partner and, you know, is unwaveringly and, you know, just in love. I wonder how that's going to...
Because honestly...
I hope it happens, though. And I know it's going to be probably really hard for, like, the first few, but the more we normalise it, the more it will just be, you know... It will just be
I just can't imagine what the weight of that is going to feel for the first person. Because we are so far behind in football,
we are male football. But shout out to the girls playing, you know, we love the Lionesses, forever rooting for you, #FemPower.
#FemPower.
And yeah, I think even though we may have lost the WAG, we gained some pretty cool women who play football and do it really good. So well done, Gritties! Well done, Gritties! We love you!
So with all that in mind then, where are WAGs now? What is the future of the WAG? Is she as a concept obsolete?
I'll be honest with you. The WAG as we knew her, she's not coming back.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
And that's okay. Exactly. I think she's time capsule.
She's time capsule and we love her.
She's nostalgic.
Exactly.
She's not removed from our memory, but she doesn't maybe have as much of a place here.
No, you can't carry her into 2024, right? But she reigns high. She's a hun for all the huns.
Those photos will always exist.
They will always exist. And the memory of seeing them in that moment will always live with me. So I think that version of a WAG, not coming back. But I think we might see a revampage of a WAG. A WAG who is a woman who has her own business, is known not as the girlfriend of, but as her herself in her entire right. And looks fabulous, is fabulous. All the girls want to be her. All the boys want to date her. And she's fantastic. And yeah, I fingers crossed we can bring back some form of WAG. But the one we had... she's never coming back.
I agree. And maybe let's look forward to hopefully a HAB in men's football.
Please.
Yeah. Who can be... It's so annoying, isn't it, that I'm going to then say, who can be an amazing role model for XYZ. It's so annoying that it has to be that like you have to be the perfect version of a boyfriend or a husband or a player or whatever when you are the first of a certain thing.
Yeah. Of like...
Because you should be able to...
You just exist.
You should, like... As long as you're a nice enough person, you could be boring and rubbish. It shouldn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't matter.
My perfect hab wouldn't even be like, oh, you know, he should work in fashion or whatever the stereotype might be. I want him to be a regular plumber from Doncaster.
Yeah, so me.
Yeah. I want him to be a plumber from Doncaster, maybe with a receding hairline.
Oh, okay, right.
No, I want him to be as regular gets. I want him to go to his regular pub. I want his regular pub to be like, oh, Dave. Yeah, Dave's been coming here for a couple of years. He's the guy. Just be so regular. And then people just be like, that's Dave.
Yeah,
Our first hab.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to be glitzy and glam. Just be Dave.
Yeah.
Daves exist and they're important too. We love you, Dave.
Daves are important.
You are.
So there we are. Shout outs to the habs of the future, the wags of the future.
Yeah.
And Dave, if you're listening, can't wait to see you rise, baby. You rise up those ranks.
We love you.
We're rooting for you.
We love you. Thanks so much for watching. You can listen to Famously in Love on BBC Sounds or watch on the BBC Sounds YouTube channel.
And remember, for more in-depth celeb controversies, you can listen to Famously on Trial with Larry Dean and Stacey Dooley.
Bye for now.